Málaga Radio.
Freshly squeezed.
The juice on all the daily events along the coast.
With just a little bit of zest.
If you are looking for festivals, local traditions, and town celebrations around Malaga and the Costa del Sol between Monday the 24th and Sunday the 30th of August, this is your guide. And there is a change in the air this week. Málaga Feria has finished, but that certainly does not mean everybody has gone home.
Quite the opposite. The attention spreads out again. This week takes us east into the Axarquia, west into the Genal Valley, inland towards Ronda, El Burgo, and Cuevas del Becerro, and back to the coast for some much more contemporary interpretations of what a festival can be. So perhaps the useful question is not simply, where is the next feria? It is, what kind of celebration would you actually like to discover?
Because they are very different. And the strongest example is probably Frigiliana. From Thursday, the 27th, through Sunday, the 30th of August, the white village above Nerca hosts the Festival de las Tres Culturas, the festival of the three cultures. The three are the Christian, Jewish, and Muslim traditions that form part of the history of this part of Andalusia.
And Frigiliana is particularly suited to it because the old quarter is not simply a backdrop. The steep streets, whitewashed houses, small squares, and the Barrio Morisco, the old Moorish quarter, become part of the event. That is worth understanding before you go. This is not a festival contained inside one arena. You are entering a village which becomes the setting.
And that changes what you notice. There are crafts, food, music, and cultural references running through the streets. But sometimes the most interesting thing is simply the mixture around you. The architecture, the smells from the food, the sound coming around a corner, and then another completely different part of the story in the next street. It is a very good example of why we try not to translate festivals into a list of program titles. What would you actually see? A historic Andalusian village temporarily telling several parts of its history at once.
And because it occupies the village rather than one isolated site, Frigiliana is one where little planning helps. The festival runs from Thursday through Sunday. For detailed program timings and the current visitor information, use the organizer information and the event page on malagaradio.net before traveling. Especially if you are approaching from the coast, remember that Frigiliana is inland from Nerca, and access into a small hill town is very different from arriving at a coastal concert venue.
Now, if Frigiliana tells history through an entire village, Benadalid does something very different. Benadalid is in the Genal Valley, west of Ronda, and its feria runs from Wednesday the 26th through Sunday the 30th of August. But the moment I want you to know about is Saturday.
Saturday the 29th at 7:30 in the evening at Castillo de Benadalid. That is the main performance of Moros y Cristianos, Moors and Christians. And this is not simply a fancy dress parade built for visitors.
No, this is the village performing part of its own inherited story. The castle and the streets become the theater, with local people taking roles in a historical drama built around conflict, capture, recapture, and reconciliation. One of the details I like is the use of the relazioni, formal spoken verses and dialogues within the tradition. So you are not only watching costume and movement, you are hearing a story that has been passed through the community.
And Benadalid is a useful contrast with a large tourist festival. The scale is smaller, the geography is more remote, the tradition belongs very specifically to that community. If that is the sort of thing you enjoy discovering on holiday, it is worth looking beyond the coast.
Then we move to Ronda, and this one opens the view out again. The Galas, Folklóricas, Internacionales de Ronda take place on Saturday the 29th and Sunday the 30th of August at the Auditorio Blas Infante.
That date is important. Saturday and Sunday. The galas bring international folk music and traditional dance together with Ronda's own folklore tradition in an outdoor performance setting beside the extraordinary landscape of the Taco.
Which is one of those places where the setting does part of the work before anybody even starts dancing. Traditional costumes, movement, live music, different folk traditions, and behind it, Ronda. It is quite different from walking through Frigiliana, and different again from watching a village perform its own historical drama in Benadalid.
And that is really the story of this week's Festivals and Traditions Guide. There is no single model. One town uses streets and food to explore several cultures. Another uses community theater to preserve a local story. Ronda puts folklore onto a formal outdoor stage. And then there are the town ferias themselves.
Two worth knowing about are El Burgo and Cuevas del Becerro. Both have their local fairs running from Thursday the 27th through Sunday Sunday, the 30th of August.
We are deliberately keeping those as town-level recommendations rather than giving you a long program of individual activities. The fairs themselves are confirmed, but detailed individual program timings are something to check locally before making a journey. What they offer us here is the contrast in scale. After the enormous footprint of Málaga Feria, these are smaller inland communities entering their own festival days.
And I think that is one of the nicest things about late August. The celebration has not disappeared. It has moved.
Now let us change pace because there are several quicker choices around the province this week as well. First, Tuesday the 25th.
In Alhaurín de la Torre, the De Plaza on Plaza program brings lady shakes to Plaza de los Claveles in Caranque from 9:30 until 11 in the evening. It is a free neighborhood live music event with rock, pop, and familiar classics.
And note the geography there. Alhaurín de la Torre, not Malaga City. Then Thursday and Friday, the 27th and 28th, Torremolinos has Little Italy Gastro Fest at the Plaza de Toros.
That one takes the festival idea in a completely different direction. Italian food culture, cocktails, live music, and shows, with the bull ring being used as an evening food festival setting. It is ticketed, and the program runs into the evening on both days. If food is really the reason that caught your attention, we will develop that side of it properly in our food and hospitality guide.
Saturday the 29th becomes particularly busy. In Estepona, Electrolunch runs at the Centro Cultural Mirador del Carmen from midday until midnight. That combines electronic music with a broader daytime cultural and leisure event on the seafront.
And in Malaga City, BIZNART takes over the Antiguo Liceo on Plaza del Carbón from 5 in the afternoon until 11 at night. That combines electronic music with visual art in a much smaller city center environment. So even the word festival is stretching this week. One can mean an old village tradition. Another can mean contemporary art and DJs inside a historic Malaga building.
And BIZNART will appear again from a different angle in our music and nightlife guide. It is the same event, not two different listings. Also on Saturday at 10 in the evening, Noche Flamenca de Algarrobo takes place at Parque de la Escalerilla in Algarrobo. That is a free open-air flamenco event and another useful reminder that some of the strongest local nights are not happening in the largest resorts.
Before we finish, I want to give you one Malaga tradition that is not a special event this week at all, because you may see one and not really understand what you are looking at. The biznaga.
And we should make that distinction clearly. This is an evergreen Malaga summer tradition, not something scheduled specially between the 24th and 30th.
A biznaga looks like one round white flower, but it isn't. It is made by hand. A dried plant stem forms the structure, and individual closed jasmine buds are carefully placed onto it. Then, as the evening comes and the jasmine opens, that little structure becomes the white scented sphere you see being carried through Malaga.
Which makes it a very good example of the sort of local detail you can walk past without knowing there is a story behind it.
Exactly. After a week when Málaga Feria filled whole streets with sound and color, I rather like ending with something that small. A person has made it by hand, flower by flower, and it is still recognizably Malaga.
So that is festivals and traditions for Monday the 24th through Sunday the 30th of August. Frigiliana gives you the largest immersive cultural festival in this guide. Benadalid gives you a community performing its own historical tradition. Ronda brings international folklore to the taco, while El Burgo and Cuevas del Becerro remind us that the inland feria season is very much still moving. Then Torremolinos, Estepona, Malaga, Alhaurín de la Torre, and Algarrobo broaden the picture again.
And none of this means you need to fill the whole holiday diary. A beach day, a long lunch, the pool, or doing absolutely nothing are all perfectly respectable plans. We just wanted you to know what is happening around you.
For the short orientation to the whole week, start with what's on Costa del Sol this week. Then choose whichever of our focused guides fits what you are looking for. Festivals and traditions, culture and exhibitions, food and hospitality, music and nightlife, or sports and outdoors.
You can listen at malagaradio.com and use malagaradio.net for the current places, event details, and planning information. And our podcasts are also available across the major podcast platforms.
For daily updates, as the week changes, join us on Freshly Squeezed.
Hasta luego.
A bientôt.
Málaga Radio. Málaga Radio.